Hello, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know who I am, my name is Shook. Make videos for NBA. Make videos. No NFL anymore. But yeah, all these videos that get posted on the subreddit. Didn't have a video last night because the slate today was just terrible. Small slate. I mean, it was probably just one of the worst slates in the world. So I did a little write up on this Reddit, but I make updates with all the news that comes out throughout the day. You can ask me questions about the slate. Anything you need will be in this Reddit. I'll have it linked down below. And if you ever need to get a hold of me privately, you can get a hold of me on Twitter. Right there are my Twitter ads. Slate's obviously still going on, and I'm just stone dead, so I'm making this video a bit early. So not going to show you my lineup tonight, but I will not be cashing. I will tell you my lineup. My lineup tonight was Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner, Jalen Suggs, excuse me, Mikal Bridges, Nas Reed, Kyle Anderson, Carl Anthony Towns, and I think that's it, right? That's it, right? Franz, Paolo, Suggs, Kat, Kyle, Nas, Mikhail, who was the last one in my lineup. I forget, but you get the gist. Paolo just absolutely killed me. I also had Paolo points on sportsbooks. He shot 1 of 100, and of course he nails the game winner after shooting that bad. Just crazy stuff. Also had Franz rebounds on sportsbooks at plus money, and he had 5 at half. Ended with 5. That rotation tonight, I don't even know what it was, but yeah, we're just gonna get straight into the slate. Today was just an absolute wash for me. Hope you guys had a good night. And yeah, if you're looking for more content, I'll have my Discord link down below where I give you guys cores, player pools, private videos for main slate, night slate, showdown, cores for all that, prize picks content, sportsbook content, all that good stuff. My Discord link will be down below. Let me see if Popcorn Machine has the rotation up for tonight. They do not. So we're going to be starting off with Orlando once again on this slate today. Marco Fultz is going to be out once again. I mean, I don't understand what this rotation is. I really don't. Why are we playing? I don't think anyone was in foul trouble. Let me just make sure because obviously this game just ended. Let me just make sure no one was in foul trouble. Yeah, nobody in foul trouble. So Paolo only 29 minutes in competitive game. Franz 32 in a competitive game. Wendell Jr. 22 in the first half. They went with some Goga. Gary Harris 25. Jalen Suggs 26 in the starting lineup, and then they dusted off a lot of bench pieces. So back to back here, it's a really good spot. So like I'm fine going right back to Paolo here. I do think he looks pretty good here going up against Atlanta. I don't think he's going to be that popular tomorrow. He's really popular today. He was one of the best plays in the slate today. It was just small slate, really good spot up against Detroit. But yeah, I think people are going to be scared to go back to him. It's one of the best matchups in the league here going up against Atlanta. So I am once again pretty high on Paolo here for tournaments. I think his ownership just going to be too low, especially after tonight. I think Franz is fine. I think I'd rather just play Paolo at a similar price point. Franz got a $400 price increase. So at these price points, I'd rather just play Paolo, but he's very solid too. And then, like I said, Orlando ran Goga in the first half. I believe he played for 8 first half minutes, I think it was. I'm not sure what that was about. But I think for Wendell Jr. and Mo, they're normally going to split the center position. You probably see like low 20s for both of them. I mean, I think both. I think Wendell Jr. himself is like a decent play at 5-1. Just know the range of outcomes. They're up and down with him, but I definitely have interest there, but strictly tournament only. And then Suggs at 5K. On this big of a slate, I still think he's a decent point per dollar option, but not as good of a play as he was today. I still think he's fine to solid. Really good matchup here going up against Atlanta. It's just, he's not going to play huge minutes here, and the price is up now. I don't know. I feel like we'll just have better value. I don't think we have to mess with this Orlando value, but if you want to go to like a Cole Anthony and if he continues to see, over 20 minutes, he's fine. I wish it was cheaper, 4.6K. It's definitely a bit much for his role right now off of the bench. And then I'm not going to play any of these bench guys. I don't think there's a need to go to them on this big of a slate today. All right, moving on to Atlanta. Trae Young and Okongwu are going to be out once again. If you guys watched my video previously, I told you guys that DeAndre Hunter was a sneaky play. because they are closing with him over the bigs. They're going Jalen Johnson at the 5. That ended up working out huge at no ownership. If you guys did go to DeAndre Hunter there, now we have Trae Young out. So with that being said, I think DeJounte Murray looks absolutely amazing at 7.8K, one of the best plays in the mid range on this slate. Jalen Johnson's going to have to play all the minutes he can handle. I like his ceiling. Like I said, they're going to close with him small ball 5. Sadiq Bey, going to get a usage bump. He's very safe in the mid range. Capella, we'll see what his minutes limit's going to be like here. But if he's going to continue to be on the limit, it's tough for me to go there. I absolutely love Bogdan Bogdanovic at 5.4K. He looks great. And then if you want to go to like DeAndre Hunter, I think he could get a minutes bump here as well. I don't mind that. So this Atlanta team definitely looks great here. Moving on to Chicago. So Torrey Craig's going to be out. Patrick Williams has been out for a while now. So with no Torrey Craig, and going up against the Pelicans, I think you're just going to see huge minutes for Ayo Dosunmu once again here. So he's very, very safe at 5.1K. Him, Caruso, I think are two solid options at their price points. Caruso should play over 30 minutes. Ayo should play all the minutes he can handle. Drummond is overpriced at 5.8K, and I think, the main guys look fine. Not necessarily the best matchup, but all of the Pelicans are literally questionable, so we'll see there. Can't really go into matchups that with all of them questionable, but all three at their price points I think are decent options. No standouts here of the main guys here, really though. All right, let's move on to the Pelicans. I mean, it's just tough to say right now. We know what to do though. Assuming Jose Alvarado starts, he's one of the best value plays in the slate. Probably going to see a lot more run for like a Jordan Hawkins. He's a decent value. The main guys, if they play Ingram, Zion, both look very good. Jonas, Nance, they're going to split the center position. Herb Jones is priced right. And then we'll monitor the news here. Now, if we get a situation where Zion and Ingram are out, then you're definitely going to want some Pels. Then Trey Murphy's going to look amazing. Herb Jones would be very good. Jordan Hawkins, I would really like. Jose Alvarado, I would really like. Najee Marshall, I would really like. There would just be an overload of value here if all these guys are ruled out. Jonas might have to play a bit more, right? They could play some Nance at the 4. So there would just be a ton to like here if all these guys are out. You're definitely going to need some Pels if that does happen. Moving on to Denver. So we have Jamal Murray questionable. If he's in, I think Jokic stands out as one of the best spend ups on the slate. I'm sure we're going to have a ton of value with those Pels. We have Trey out. So I'm sure a lot of value is going to open up. You're probably going to be able to easily afford him. I do think he stands out as one of the best spend ups on the slate. I really like Wemby too. So love Jokic regardless if Murray plays. If Murray's out, then I absolutely love Jokic. If Murray's in, MPJ, Aaron Gordon, they're both priced right. Murray himself, fine filler play. What's his injury? Shins? I don't think I've ever seen that on the injury report. Shins. If Murray's in, I'm not playing Reggie. I probably wouldn't go to anyone else. Mainly just be Jokic for me. If Murray's out, you can consider like a Reggie at 5.7, but he's priced right. And then MPJ, Aaron Gordon get a bit of a boost. But I would still say they're priced right a bit. I always prefer MPJ to Aaron Gordon when they're close in price point. He just has the higher ceiling. But yeah, still no standouts here, even if Murray sits. Would just absolutely love Jokic. Moving on to the Warriors. Not a good spot here going up against Denver, but I think Pods and Draymond are probably my two favorite plays in this team. I think they stand out at their price points. And Jonathan Kuminga minutes have not been great of late, but if you get a game where he plays over 30 minutes at this price point, he is probably going to break the slate. So I am intrigued by Jonathan Kuminga at this price point. But just know the range of outcomes with his minutes. They're up, they're down, etc. But he could crush at this price point. So the main three here I'm definitely intrigued by. Clay, overpriced. Wiggins has been actually pretty good of late. Playable. Don't think I go to much else. They closed with like the bench. I don't know if this game was close last game. On the box score, it looks close. Maybe Charlotte came back a little bit. Not entirely sure. That game had like 50 total points at half. It was absolutely wild. All right, moving on to OKC. Not the best spot here, but I think SGA at 10.6K looks good. I much rather get up to Jokic, but in a competitive game, he's going to play mid-30s minutes. He's their go-to guy. His potential assists have been way up of late, so he's stuffing the stat sheet a bit more. Get you a decent rebounder for a guard as well. So he's stuffing the stat sheet a lot more this year than what he has done prior. in the past years, more so because, Josh Giddey's been losing minutes, etc. But yeah, I think SGA is a good spend up. I do like Chet though at 7.4K. Just the ceiling of tournaments, and he's always low owned. I don't mind the spot specifically here for Chet. There's a ton of stock upside as well. So I like Chet there for tournaments. Jalen's another guy that's fine. I think I prefer Chet slightly in this spot, but I think Jalen's very, very safe. Another guy that's usage been way, way up of late. Don't love Giddy at this price point. We're also going to have Gordon Hayward coming back, so that's going to hurt, the entire bench. I don't think I'm going to get to Dort on this type of slate. Moving on to Houston, so Tari Eason is going to be remaining out here. I think Sengun is pretty good at 8.5K. Minutes finally back up last game. We know the ceiling he has. Don't mind this matchup either, so I think Sengun's a good spend up. I really like Fred VanVleet at 6.9K. This price point is just too cheap. He's like a 7.5 to 8K player. He's playing it pretty much the entire game. Not on the minutes limit from coming back from the injury either. Excuse me. So, yeah, I really like Fred at this price point. I think he's just too cheap. We know he's going to basically play the entire game. He's going to have the ball in his hands a decent amount. He's going to stuff the stat sheet. So, yeah, Fred is just too cheap. I really like him. Jabari priced right, but does have a ceiling. Should play big minutes as well. Amin Thompson's minutes have been up of late. Dylan Brooks has lost a few minutes. I still think he's priced right, though. I'm not going to play Brooks. I'm not going to play any of the bench pieces. All right, this is a game that's going to be great for fantasy. Should be good to watch too, to be honest. But I really like Victor Wembanyama at 9.6K. I haven't seen anything on a limit, but I know this was a back-to-back, and they said they weren't going to limit him. So I would assume he just gets his normal 30 minutes here. And one of the best matchups going up against Utah here. I mean, it's hard not to really, really like Victor Wembanyama here. I think he stands out as one of the better matchups on the slate. I really, really like Victor Wembanyama here. And I like Vassell quite a bit too at 6.8K. I know he had a bad game last game, but this is a really, really good spot. Utah gives up a ton of three-point shooting, scoring in general. That's what Vassell does. She'll play big minutes. Spurs are running a tighter rotation of late. So I do like Vassell quite a bit for tournaments. Another guy I do like for tournaments is Jeremy Sochan. His minutes have been way up of late as well. Good rebounder, stat sheet stuffer. I like Sochan quite a bit at 5.4. Jones is fine. I think I prefer Sochan. And then, Keldon Johnson should play 30 minutes off the bench. I don't even mind him at this price point. I don't know if I go to anyone else, though. But yeah, I like some Spurs tomorrow. They're running a tighter rotation of late, and I like some Jazz here. So Jazz booted Walker Kessler from the starting lineup. If they do that again, they start Taylor Hendricks and John Collins at the 5. Then I think John Collins is a solid play at 6.3K. Keontae George, ever since entering the starting lineup, his minutes have been up. He's a good point per minute guy that's going to stuff the stat sheet. I think he's very, very safe. I still think he's a bit too cheap. Clarkson, Sexton, they're both going to play around 30 minutes. I think Clarkson's still a bit too cheap. He's shooting forward eligibility. I like him quite a bit. I prefer him to Sexton. And then Hendricks is a playable value at 3.7K. If he starts again, he did not close the game, but still did play 26 minutes. Don't mind him. And I think that's it. So yeah, this game definitely I have a ton of interest in. This is another game that could be pretty good here. Two bad teams going up against each other. Two teams that don't play a ton of defense. LaMelo Ball, Mark Williams going to be out. Miles Bridges, you guys know, whenever LaMelo is out, I'm always high on him. He's playing the entire game. Good rebounder, double upside, good spot. I think Miles looks very solid. Brandon Miller's fine. I think I prefer Miles. Similar, Trey Mann should play over 30 minutes. Stat sheet stuffer, I think he's getting to the price point where I think he should, but he's a decent play. Nick Richards isn't really closing games right now, but this is such a good spot. You give him his 25 to 30 minutes, he could absolutely nuke here. So I am intrigued by Nick Richards for tournaments. Grant Williams, I believe they've been closing with him over Nick Richards at the 5. He's a playable value, but he is priced right. I'm not going to play Cody Martin. Mitchell should see 20 minutes off the bench, playable dart in large field tournaments. Fine. All right, moving on to Portland. So last game they went with a lineup that I was just not expecting. They went with a lineup of Simons, Grant Ayton, Chris Murray, and Tumani Kamara. So keep an eye on the lineup. If they do that again, I mean, Chris Murray just played huge minutes. Now he's not going to be a good point per minute guy when he's out there, but 3.9K, I think it's like 0.65 fantasy points per minute, 0.7. I had it just up. See if I can just look at it again. By the way, he's not going to be too productive while he's on the court, but I mean, if he plays big minutes again, I do think he's solid value. Why is this not loading? Where are you? Yeah, 0.69 in a 480-minute sample, but that sample is not playing with the full starters. So, like, but yeah, you give him that minutes again, and I think he's solid value. Kamara's playable at 3.8K as well. And then Ban's been getting solid run off the bench. He's actually a decent point per minute guy. If he gets high teens to low 20s minutes, reasonable value. And then I really like Simons. No Scoot, no Brogdon. He should play all the minutes he could handle here. I mean, they don't have too many bodies behind him. So I'm really high on Simons in tournaments. Jeremy Grant's playable. Ayton at 6.9K. It's a really good spot for him. I don't mind him. And then I don't know if I got much else. We mentioned the value plays, but yeah, I really like this slate. This slate looks great. Sacramento, so not a good spot here. I think Sabonis is an okay spend up. I think Fox at 8-2 is fine. And then I do like Monk still at 5-7. Does seem a bit too cheap. They just want to give him minutes right now. We know he's going to be really productive when he's on the court. So I still like Monk, and I think I still like Keegan at 5K. They slashed Barnes minutes last game. Just know they're going to go with the hot hand between like Keegan Hurt or Barnes. I think at this point Monk's pretty safe for like high 20s minutes. But yeah, I think Keegan's decent. And then if you want to, want ceiling options like Hurt or Barnes, they're fine. Clippers good spot here. I think all three of the Clippers look pretty solid. I think Paul George at 7.9K is a bit too cheap. Off his limits, playing big minutes as well. So I think all three of the main Clips do look pretty good. I think my favorite straight up is Kawhi, but I think Paul George probably looks the best point per dollar. But I think all three are decent point per dollar plays. And I like Zubac at 5.6K off his limit. Got in a massive foul trouble this game, fouled out in 27 minutes. I mean, if he's going to play his full complement of minutes here at 5.6K, he is too cheap. So I do like Zubac quite a bit. I don't know if I go to anyone else. I mean, Powell's questionable. I don't think it changes too much for me. I mean, Terrence Mann dropped like 50 last game. What was that? Crazy. But yeah, it's going to wrap it up for the slate. I hope you guys had a great night tonight. This slate looks phenomenal. I absolutely love this slate. So, hoping to do well. I'll talk to you guys in the next video.